you put it on the ground, it was like that, and it was like a ground.
All of our flaws are what make us fun, you know, like laughing, getting drunk, going to see a great movie.
The future of American warfare is here, and it's spelled AI. As technologies advance,
anyone else who normalizes this shit show, he's not the problem. You are.
Come, sign your soul away.
We can't let the people know! We can't let the people know!
We are out of time. They don't even know it's coming. We are out of time. They don't even know it's coming.
Welcome to the sacrificed.
All this is doing is stopping our voice, stopping our creative outlets.
Imagine telling more than 4 million kids they can no longer have an account on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube until they turn 16. That's just what the country of Australia did 3 days ago, and users made one thing clear in their final posts: the kids down under are not backing down easily.
You're taking away the way that we communicate with our friends, the way that we feel connected to the world.
As young Australians, we will be completely silenced and cut off from our country and the rest of the world with this ban.
Now teens are fighting back. 15-year-old Noah Jones is taking the issue to the High Court. He believes the law improperly robs 2.6 million young Australians of a right to freedom of political communication implied in Australia's constitution.
I personally feel like it's going to be less safe than what we already have now.
Keanne Babbitt, a 13-year-old content creator, says the ban could have an adverse effect, potentially opening a gateway to other, less regulated sites.
There's always going to be a new platform which is less monitored and less and unsafer than the ones they banned. What they're trying to do is make it more safer, but at the same time, they're giving us more opportunities to unsafe platforms.
Advocates say the ban will protect young people from predators and algorithms serving up potentially unhealthy content. Australia's Prime Minister offering this advice:
start a new sport, learn a new instrument, or read that book, and importantly, spend quality time with your friends and your family.
All of our flaws are what make us fun, you know, like laughing, getting drunk, going to see a great movie, falling in love, having a family, you know, having a cool podcast, whatever it is. All those things are what makes life fun for us in this particular state. But, you know, if you transcend from this life into a permanent state of the DMT dimension, which is what might be next.
If you transcend from this life into a permanent state of the DMT dimension, which is what might be next.
That might be what people see when they have these near-death experiences. That might be, I mean, it might be when you are released from your physical body and consciousness exists in the sea of consciousness that is the entire universe itself, that all of these things are conscious and aware. They're just in a different way. I mean, we might be holding ourselves back from that with this ridiculous notion that it's dystopian to think that we're going to be improved technologically.
Do you've become more religious recently, right? Like, or I guess you go to church now.
Like I said, I think they're relaying a truth. I don't think it's myth. I don't think the whole thing is myth, but I don't think it's entirely accurate either.
Mm.
You
11 people are dead after a shooting during a Jewish holiday celebration at Sydney's Bondi Beach.
Yeah, it's for the first night of Hanukkah. Police are investigating the mass shooting as a terrorist attack.
In just a few minutes, 60 people on Australia's iconic Bondi Beach were left dead and injured. Here's what we know about how the attack unfolded. The attack begins here, on the footbridge overlooking Archer Park. A mostly Jewish crowd was celebrating the first night of Hanukkah, just 70 yards away. On the nearby beach, gunshots and police sirens begin sounding. Within minutes, the sand near Archer's Park is deserted. It's about 6:50 p.m. Police already on their way. The gunman, a 50-year-old father, and his 24-year-old son continue their unrelenting fire. Then the father in the white trousers moves off the bridge, closing in on his victims. As he walks, he continues shooting.
I've seen a brain on the ground, like a brain. You take a brain, you push it on the ground. It was like that, and it was like a grandma. She was bleeding a lot, and then like a lot of people, they've been crying. Some people they became white as well, and yeah, I feel very sad for the Jewish community because it was like a party for them, like Hanukkah or something like that. I don't know, but yeah, I feel very sad for them after what happened in the 7th of October. And as a Muslim, I'm also sad because some people they're gonna think that Muslims are like that Muslims kill people, and we didn't do anything. We don't have nothing to do with that. No one is supposed to kill anyone. So yeah, that's kind of confusing. Even though Australia is supposed to be a safe country, Bondi is a famous place as well. And like to do that in Bondi, that's kind of hard. And I feel also sad for the people, for the Jewish community, for Australian as well. Yeah.
Were any of the children injured that you saw?
Yeah, I've seen like a kid, like she was like maybe 8 years old. She got injured in the leg, and she was crying, and she was on the ground. So she was behind her mom. Her mom was on the ground as well. So her mom, she was holding her kid. She was 8 years old, and the other kid, she was like maybe 2-3 years old as well. And yeah, they've been like that, and many people they've been running away. And then yeah, and then I seen the brain, and that's the most traumatizing thing that I've seen in my life. A brain, I've never seen that.
We've got another witness who wasn't in the best shape, who was caught up in it all, and still did what the best that he could do. Let's just run this.
I survived October 7th. I lived in Israel the last 13 years. We came here only 2 weeks ago to work with the Jewish community, to fight antisemitism, to fight this bloodthirsty, ravaging hatred.
That's why you're here?
That's why I'm here. You know, we've lived through worse. We're going to get through this, and we're going to get the bastards that did this.
Tell me, did you see the gunman?
I did. I saw at least one gunman firing. Looked like a shotgun firing randomly in all directions. I saw children falling to the floor. So elderly. I saw invalids. I saw people just. It was an absolute bloodbath, blood gushing everywhere. You know, October 7th. That's the last time I saw this.
You see the man in white there running up and tackling that suspected gunman. There is a struggle, and you can see he appears to wrestle what looks like a shotgun out of that man's hands. Now, the individual in white has not at this point been identified, but local leaders are hailing what they say were extraordinary acts of personal courage by people who just jumped in at the scene. It is very likely that that man saved some lives by appearing to disarm that gunman. We know that at least 29 people were taken to hospital. Among them are 2 police officers. Authorities are saying police were on the scene and engaging in a gun battle with these shooters within just minutes. Police are also saying that they found a car linked to the killed gunman.
في عبد الله واحمد وكل
والله
الشباب
على
تحت.
راسي احمد وعبد الله وعلاء وبلال. الله حي الزرق. بس والله اشرح لكم مريت بمرحله الله بيعلم. والحمد لله وبس. الحمد لله.
أنا إلي الفخر والاعتزاز بابني لأنه بطل على مستوى أستراليا، ولم تبقى وكالة إخبار بالعالم إلا نشرت خبره وبطولته وعمله، لحد الرئيس ترامب بالذات شكروا على هالعمل. رئيس الوزراء الأسترالي كتب أنه رجل شجاع بطل، نتمنى له الشفاء العاجل، وإنسان ضحى بحياته وبنفسه من أجل إنقاذ أرواح بريئة كانت موجودة بالمكان.
To breaking news, the surviving gunman Naveed Akram has woken from his coma and is now speaking with police. It comes as counter-terror officers investigate he and his father's recent trip to the Philippines and whether they travelled there to be trained by Islamic State jihadists.
An evil sign of what was to come. A homemade Islamic State flag draped across the windscreen of Sajid and Naveed Akram's terror car.
Police are looking for a man seen on surveillance video dumping a body out of his pickup truck. Thanks a lot for joining us. I'm Elliot Rodriguez.
And I'm Chelsea Jones. Lauren Pastrana has the night off. The area is in the West Perrine neighborhood. It's mostly industrial there, but cameras were rolling as the truck pulled up. Let's take you to Southwest Miami-Dade now. CBS News Miami's Yvonne Taylor is on the scene. Yvonne, what else can you tell us about the victim?
Yes, Elliot and Chelsea, the victim's body was actually found at the entrance of this business, this shop right here in West Perrine at around 5 a.m. according to police. Now, the business owner whose camera shot everything told us that this is a small industrial area that very few people know about it. A surveillance camera caught the moment a pickup truck arrives to the industrial area. The driver turns around and heads over to the place where police found the victim's body. Police confirmed to Ron Van Pauls, a business owner, that the suspect dumped a body.
It was a female, and she was, badly beaten up, and that's all they know. That's all they've shared with me.
Pauls shared the surveillance video with the cops. The gruesome discovery was at the entrance of another shop on Southwest 170th Street and 99th Avenue.
Yeah, I knew my cameras would be, they cover that area. My guys got here just 2 or 3 minutes after. You could see from the video, 3 minutes later, my guys arrived.
One of them was Pharrell Scott.
If I was here earlier, I would have seen the guy.
He said the truck driver was lucky. This Friday, he was 5 minutes late.
I would have seen everything happen, but I stopped and got my coffee and stuff like that. The video is shocking because the guy made a big U-turn right here, stop. I seen him get out, dump the body, but I just couldn't see his face.
Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office said they are investigating the case and would not comment on anything.
The future of American warfare is here, and it's spelled AI. As technologies advance, so do our adversaries. But here at the War Department, we are not sitting idly by. Under the leadership of President Trump, America will lead the charge on this technological transformation by revolutionizing the way we win. And that's why today we are unleashing GenAI.mil. This platform puts the world's most powerful frontier AI models, starting with Google Gemini, directly into the hands of every American warrior. At the click of a button, AI models on GenAI can be utilized to conduct deep research, format documents, and even analyze video or imagery at unprecedented speed. Building on the great work of Undersecretary Emil Michael and his team, we will continue to aggressively field the world's best technology to make our fighting force more lethal than ever before. And all of it is American-made. The possibilities with AI are endless. Now, let's get to work. Well, this week, President Donald Trump signed an executive order that aims to keep states from regulating artificial intelligence. Texas is one of 4 states which passed laws to set some rules for AI across the private sector.
The American President Donald Trump has signed an executive order launching a government-wide artificial intelligence initiative called the Genesis Mission, a project that aims to build an integrated AI platform using America's most powerful supercomputers and scientific data sets. And the order directs the U.S. Energy Department and national laboratories to combine federal scientific data, AI systems and computing power into a single cooperative research network.
To combine federal scientific data, AI systems and computing power into a single cooperative research network.
Attention farmers and ranchers, the state just issued an urgent alert about a newly detected pest. It is causing significant damage to pastures and hay fields across the state. The invasive mealybug has been detected in 20 counties, including some in our area. The insect attacks common grasses, causing yellowing, stunted growth, and dieback. Now, currently there is no effective insecticide, so early detection is key. Producers are urged to carefully check fields and report suspicious signs to the Texas Department of Agriculture. This tiny pest could have a huge impact on Texas livestock and hay production if it spreads unchecked.
A new drug is being blamed for turning parts of Philadelphia into what some are calling zombie land. Okay, you have seen the video of this. First it was heroin, then it was fentanyl and tranq. Now a new compound called medetomidine. Doctor, you schooled me in the commercial. I think I got it. Medetomidine is flooding Kensington Avenue, the city's notorious open-air drug market. Health officials and first responders say it's producing even more extreme sedation and brutal crashes than what came before. Anything more than what we've seen. A new piece highlights the intense effects of this drug. Quote, there are no stages to the high. And this is from Tony. You go straight to sleep. You do it, you wake up, you're sick. That's from Christine. You don't even know you're passing out. The article goes on to say, this isn't like nodding off. Along Kensington Avenue, people shuffle in near catatonic states, bent at right angles, some frozen mid-stride. Meanwhile, a biotech company is working on a vaccine that would blunt the effects of another powerful drug, fentanyl. The company hopes to start testing that soon with the goal of preventing overdose deaths. All right,
More new developments tonight in the mysterious disappearances of 2 men in the Inland Empire. The men were once both a part of a secret Hemet-based religious group before they vanished without a trace years ago.
And tonight we can confirm more members of the cult-like group have been taken into custody in connection with their murders. Mary Beth McDade has been following this story for years. She is live in the newsroom with the latest. MB.
Yeah, Mike and Courtney, we have now learned that 6 members of the cult-like group have been arrested for numerous crimes, including 2 murders, as well as weapons charges, which include being in possession of machine guns.
We've learned 6 members of a little-known Inland Empire religious group called His Way Spirit-Led Assemblies were arrested Thursday at the group's Hemet headquarters. The organization's leader, 62-year-old Shelly Cat Martin, who calls herself a prophetess, has been arrested for Emilio Ganem's murder. And high-ranking member, 43-year-old Rudy Moreno, was also arrested for Emilio's murder. Emilio had been a member of this cult-like group for 20 years, but quit the sect and the pest control company they run back in 2023. He moved back to Nashville to be with family and start his own pest control company. However, a few weeks later, he returned to Southern California to open a satellite office. The group was not happy he was starting a competing company and sent him a cease and desist letter. During that May 2023 trip, he had coffee with a friend at a Redland Starbucks. And then, that friend tells us, Emilio headed to go meet with his now suspected killer, Rudy Moreno, and was never seen alive again.
Don't feel proud because you've killed 5 folks. And then those that have killed more feel more proud and honored.
Shelley's husband and fellow leader of the group, 58-year-old Daryl Music Martin, who also goes by Pastor Music, was also arrested for murder, but not in Emilio's case. We've learned it's for the killing of another member of the group, 43-year-old Ruben Moreno of Paris. He vanished in 2017 while living with several members in Claremont. 3 other members of the ministry were arrested on weapons charges. We recently paid a visit to some of the group's properties in Hemet and Anza. One of their neighbors who didn't want to be identified says they're constantly preparing for a catastrophic disaster.
By the name of the beast. See, John Graphic describes this government, this entity that he's going to rule over and rule from. It has 7 heads. And later on in chapter 17, it says the head and 7 heads, there's 7 mountains, which I find is interesting. It has 10 horns, which refers to nations or dominions, we're told later on. It has 7 crowns, which means it has leaders or rulers that go from 10 down to 7 and ultimately become consolidated into the power of one man. These rulers will give all of their power and authority to this one man who is nothing else but a placeholder, a puppet for Satan. So we're told these things about this entity that's coming, that's going to rise out of the ruins and the remnants of the Roman Empire. His origins will be from ancient Rome, but it'll be a confederation of 10 dominions or kingdoms, that it will have multiple leaders, but they will be reduced down to one leader who will be empowered to rule over all the rest. And his rule will be a despotic, totalitarian, authoritarian rule. And as a consequence, lots of bad things happen on planet Earth. You see, John said there were 3 signs. The first sign was the woman that we talked about in verse 1. The second sign is this beast. The third sign is the 7 last plagues that will fall upon the earth that we'll get to, I'm figuring, by January.
A lot of progress has been made with respect to Gaza and just about everything else we touch. Just yesterday, the United Nations Security Council formally adopted my peace plan and officially endorsed the Board of Peace. This is a board like no other. It will have the heads of major countries, I think all of the major countries. I hope Your Highness will be on the board. You'll accept, I hope. But the Board of Peace will be something that's never even been thought of before. And it's covering Gaza, but it'll end up covering large portions of the world. And I was honored to be chosen the chair of that Board of Peace. And I think you'll see something that nobody's ever seen before in terms of the status of the board. There will never be a board like the board that we're going to be announcing. Everybody wants to be on the board, and it'll end up being quite a large board because it'll be the heads of every major country, and the United Nations passed it. I guess unanimously, you can say. China, which was against it, took a pass, didn't vote against it, and Russia, which was against it, didn't vote against it. So we appreciate it because one negative vote and it doesn't happen. So people were shocked to see that was approved. And that was a great honor. It's a great honor for me, I will tell you. I think it's something like nobody's ever even imagined. So it's called the Board of Peace, and watch for it because it's going to do some fantastic things.
President Trump has proposed a so-called Board of Peace to temporarily oversee Gaza, but it's still unclear who would be on the board and what exactly the board would do. By the way, former British Prime Minister Tony Blair was suggested for a leading role, but now that's in doubt. One thing is clear, though. We know President Trump says he will chair the board. So could this concept be a viable path forward for the region?
And the United Nations Security Council has endorsed Donald Trump's 20-point plan for Gaza, which outlines a path to an independent Palestinian state. The UN resolution allows an international stabilisation force to enter the Strip and the establishment of a Board of Peace that would be led by the US president.
You know, like when I was having a conversation with my daughter about the book of Revelations, because they were reading the book of Revelations, and they were talking about how it's all going to happen, how it's going to end. And then I said, well, let me tell you something. There's no way that guy telling you that knows that. He might be reading the text, and that text, by the way, is a translation. It's an English translation of probably either Latin or Greek, which was originally ancient Hebrew. Like, a lot is lost in text, and a lot is lost also in the oral tradition. But it's like a long story. Like, do I want to sit down with her and talk about the Younger Dryas impact theory? And it's like, but I'm like, there's no way that guy knows. It might be true. But there's no way he knows it's true, because he's just a person. He's a person like you or me that is like deeply involved in the scripture. The scripture, to me, is what's interesting. It's fascinating. That is what, and also that Christianity, at least, is the only thing I have experience with. It works. Like, the people that are Christians that go to this church that I go to, that I meet, that are Christian, they are the nicest people you will ever meet. They're really kind, and they are even more nice at a church. When you leave the church parking lot, everybody lets you go in front of them.
Aww.
There's no one honking in the church parking lot. It works. So regardless of whether or not it's based on an entirely true story, I think it is an ancient relaying of a real event and of the real history of human beings.
Hands. Everybody get your hands. Hands. Just keep your hands up for us. Obviously there's something going on. We're here to help you. Just listen to what we have to say, okay? All right, breathe. Anybody hurt? No? All right, just listen to our commands. We will get you out of here safely. Is this it? Is this the group?
Guys, if you have your bags, your phones, we'll grab it now. Quickly.
Go, quick, go.
In orderly, fast. Let's go. Good job.
Grab your stuff. Hurry up.
Breaking news in Rhode Island, Brown University says there's been a shooting on campus and a suspect is not in custody. Here's a live look at the scene. The university says Providence police are still on scene and they're asking everyone to continue to take shelter. New video shows students running on campus. The university sending a message through its alert system earlier, warning of an active shooter near the Barris and Holly Engineering Building. ABC News Justice and Homeland Security reporter Luke Bard joins us now on the phone. Luke, can you tell us the latest in this situation?
Yeah, so what we know at this moment is that the Brown University did send a message out saying they do not have a suspect in custody, and they are looking to see what happened during this active shooter situation, which they did confirm. They're coordinating with multiple law enforcement agencies that are on the site, and I've been speaking to sources that have said that they're getting police from all over the state of Rhode Island, this is an area of Providence called the East Side. Just a little bit of context about where this is in Rhode Island. This is an area called the East Side. It's the east side of Providence. There's obviously Brown is the anchor.
I'm going to go ahead and bring in Ref Bari, who's a student here at the university. And Ref, I understand that you were in the building or nearby as you heard the shots ring out.
Yeah. The shots rang out behind me. So I was in Barris and Holly, the physics and engineering building, and yeah, it happened all behind me.
And what did you hear? What did you see? And what was going through your mind at the time?
Yeah, so what happened is I had just had a meeting with my satellite team, the T-Rex team, and I was heading down. So we have a physics office on the first floor of Barris and Holly. So I left the first floor office and there's a step of stairs that connects the old part of Barrison Holly to the new part. The old part is the physics part, the new part is the engineering part. So I'm walking down these steps of stairs. I'm about to head to the diner, this diner, the Ratty. And when I'm on the second or third step of the staircase, I hear this pop, 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 like punctuated, like pop sounds, like 6 or 7 of them ring out behind me. And I've never heard anything like that in my life. So the first.
Did you instantly know that it was gunfire, or you thought maybe it was something else?
No, I thought, okay, you have no idea that, you know, this thing is real in the moment, right? There's no kind of fact check in real life. I glanced behind me very quickly, and the lobby of Barrison Holly was empty, or so it seemed. So I thought, okay, maybe I'm tripping. In front of me, the ERC, the commons area of Barrison Holly is full with about 100 students.
The hunt for the Brown University gunman is in chaos today. Authorities believed they had their man when a 24-year-old former U.S. Army sniper was detained at a hotel 20 miles from the Ivy League campus. FBI Director Kash Patel posted this photo of the 4 a.m. raid and said that the big break came from analyzing cell phone data. But less than 24 hours after celebrating the arrest, cops admitted that forensic tests showed that they had made a terrible mistake. They had the wrong guy.
This person's name was leaked to the public. It's hard to put that back in the bottle.
John Miller, CNN's chief law enforcement analyst, revealed there's a turf war between the feds and local Rhode Island cops.
There's some friction between the federal authorities, the FBI, the Providence Police, and some of their partners about who's actually running this thing, who's calling the shots.
Police still believe this 8-second surveillance video shows the gunman, his right hand in his pocket, possibly holding a weapon. And cops released this new surveillance video of the wanted man. Today, FBI evidence teams retraced the gunman's route, searching it inch by inch for anything that might yield a clue. Incredibly, student Mia Tretta lived through another mass shooting in 2019 when she was in high school.
When I was deciding what school I wanted to go to, a big part of that was, where am I going to feel safe?
Brown University, Mr. President, do you know what the motive of the shooter was? Was it a targeted attack?
That's moving along now, and we don't, and we're going to see what happens. Hopefully they're going to capture this animal. Hopefully they're going to capture him.
Has Kash Patel told you why it's been so difficult for the FBI to identify who the shooter is?
Well, it's always difficult. So far, we've done a very good job of doing it. With Charlie, with, the various times this has happened, they've done it in pretty much record time. But you'd really have to ask the school a little bit more about that, because, this was a school problem.
But you'd really have to ask the school a little bit more about that, because, this was a school problem.
A school problem. They had their own guards, they had their own police, they had their own everything, but you'd have to ask that question really to the school, not to the FBI. We came in after the fact, and the FBI will do a good job, but they came in after the fact.
Do you know if it was targeted, Mr. President?
No, they don't know that yet, no.
In St. Louis County, a former daycare employee pled guilty to sexually abusing children. Police say these acts happened at the Webster Groves daycare where he worked. Justina Coronel was in the courtroom the moment Christopher Titus entered a guilty plea. She's live outside the courts in Clayton. Justina.
Kelly, that courtroom was packed with families all waiting to hear that guilty plea. And when it finally happened, parents started to cry. Now, we couldn't have cameras in the courtroom, but I was there when Titus walked in with a tan jumpsuit and in handcuffs. He's been behind bars since March earlier this year. At that time, he was charged for raping and sexually abusing a 5-year-old girl. Since then, 2 more children under the age of 12 came forward for sexual abuse. Titus was originally charged with 6 counts, but since this is a plea deal, 1 count of sodomy or attempted sodomy was dismissed. For 7 years, Titus worked at Here We Grow Daycare in Webster Groves and has shut down ever since. Police believe all of these acts happened at the daycare. Today, families read victim impact statements. One mom told the judge her daughter was the first victim to come forward, giving courage to 2 other children. That mom believes there are more victims out there and said there's no sentence long enough for Titus. Another mom called Titus a disgusting monster, a person who was supposed to take care of her daughter and instead preyed on her. She also looked at Titus saying, "You stole so much from our daughter."
But if you view all of this chronologically and ontologically, the final empire appears to be an outgrowth or a progeny of ancient Rome. And this for many years led many people to identify it with the Roman Catholic Church, because the Roman Catholic Church is one of the last clear emblems of the Roman government, the Roman Empire, because even many of the terms that are used to identify the leadership and the facilities and so many things within the Roman Church had just simply been subsumed by the Roman Catholic Church. I mean, Pontus Maximus was the title of the high priest of Jupiter, and now it's the title that they use for the Pope. And many, many other things like that. The Pantheon, which used to be built to the Pantheon of the gods, is now a church that has the statues of all the saints, where it used to have the statues of the various gods, and so forth and go on. I mean, I could go on with this for hours, and so I'll save it for next week. But to call it the Roman Church is kind of incomplete and is very problematic, because I think it's kind of a red herring. We miss the bigger import of what's going on. You see, others counter, I think, even more correctly. They say, well, the Western Roman Empire collapsed in 476 AD when the Visigoths came in and set up a shop. And it's true, it did. Rome stopped being the center of the Roman world. And the Eastern Empire, which was where all the wealth and the power actually had moved to Constantinople under Emperor Constantine, often referred to as Byzantium, because it was named after the place where the new Constantinople was built, which is today Istanbul. It fell to the Turks in 1453 AD. But what gets lost in the datings and the history is that Rome's influence is still very much with us, having largely shaped the very cultural foundations of modern Western civilization.
And a concerning update to our ongoing KCRA 3 investigation, Dignity Delayed. Last week, we told you exclusively about the 3rd missing persons case linked to a Dignity Health hospital and its backlog of human remains.
A lawsuit just filed reveals more disturbing allegations. KCRA 3 investigates Lizzie Mitri has been combing through the documents. Lizzie, what did you find?
Curtis, the lawsuit claims not only did the hospital fail to notify Tanya Walker's family after she died, it alleges the hospital actually donated Walker's organs even though she wasn't an organ donor. At 51 years old, Tanya Walker died at Dignity Health's Mercy General Hospital in November 2023. But the family says the hospital never notified them and didn't issue a death certificate until 5 months later. So the family and detectives searched for Walker all that time. Now the family says they're suing.
They need to be held to task for the absolute nightmare that families are living who do not know if their family members are dead or alive.
The lawsuit also alleges that Dignity unilaterally made the decision to make Walker an organ donor and then, without any permission whatsoever, harvested her eyes and tissue. On top of Dignity Health, the family is suing the off-site morgue that Dignity has been contracting with to store bodies for months or even years after patient deaths. It's more commonly known as cremations only, but the official business is Mortuary Support Services of Northern California. It's owned by Michael Robert Lofton. The lawsuit alleges the company failed to properly store Walker's remains by failing to embalm her body and refrigerate it at the appropriate temperature. It also states a permit is required by law to store a body for more than 8 calendar days, and that the company held Walker's body for 5.5 months before finally getting that permit. We did reach out, and the attorneys for Lofton and his business say this is a very unfortunate situation. However, they say their client disputes that it has any liability in this matter, and they intend to vigorously defend any claims against it.
Back in that era, 2008 to 2011, I had heard the name Dr. Jim Lakatsky a few times, mostly in hushed whispers. I finally met him face-to-face on St. Patrick's Day 2018 at a meeting in D.C. arranged by Senator Reid. That's when I received a full download about OSAP that stunned me. What they found in this sprawling UFO investigation is that these unknown craft, whatever they are, seem to generate spooky phenomena that seemingly shouldn't exist.
We heavily went into Skinwalker Ranch, property of Robert Bigelow's. He offered a facility where we could see UFOs and the paranormal at once in one location.
How did this ranch in northeastern Utah, previously owned by Las Vegas aerospace tycoon Robert Bigelow, become a key part of the government's classified UFO investigation? It started at DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, where rocket scientist and intelligence analyst Dr. James Lakatsky and a colleague, Jay Stratton, became both puzzled and alarmed by reports about UFO intrusions at many of our nation's most sensitive national defense facilities. Residents of the Uinta Basin in northeastern Utah had been reporting frequent UFO incidents for decades, probably longer. And the Bigelow Ranch was deemed an epicenter of weird activity, not just UFOs, but also unknown creatures, things that presumably exist only in myths or movies.
Okay.
Bigelow's organization, NIDS, moved on to the ranch, and its team of scientists and investigators began collecting testimony from residents, then started seeing the creatures and phenomena for themselves. Lakatsky, Stratton, and the bosses at DIA were intrigued, not repelled, by the wild stories. They wanted to know if UFOs and the seemingly related paranormal incidents might be considered a threat.
Because I could see from my organization the threat potential, and we weren't covering many of the things you were observing. Strange creatures. I mean, think of inducing these, what might be called illusions by some people, into an enemy force. We wanted to learn what can be weaponized here.
Lakatsky and Stratton put together a program which DIA approved. The acronym was OSAP. Senator Harry Reid helped secure the funding, and Bigelow Aerospace was the contractor. 50 full-time investigators were hired, obtained top-secret security clearances, and went to work. The main focus was UFOs and UFO technology, but one smaller focus was measurable health effects on people who encountered a UFO and were physically harmed or developed rare diseases.
Woman, group, or concept with the most influence on the world, for better or for worse in some cases. The first, when it was Time's Man of the Year, aviator, Charles Lindbergh.
Yeah, more recent recipients highlight a wide range of selections from Volodymyr Zelensky and the spirit of Ukraine. Then there was music superstar Taylor Swift. That sold some issues. And last year, it was then President-elect Donald Trump. So here to share this year's selection, Times editor-in-chief Sam Jacobs. Hi, Sam. Good morning. We love this tradition with you. Drum roll, please. Without further ado, who is it?
Good morning. Well, today we are proud to announce the 99th Person of the Year from Time. And the Person of the Year for 2025, the architects of AI. This was the year where we feel like the people who were designing, imagining, and building artificial intelligence stopped debating about how to create this technology and started racing to deploy it. And there are enormous consequences for society.
Viewers were not loving it.
McDonald's has taken down a Christmas ad that was allegedly entirely produced with artificial intelligence after the brand was slammed with an onslaught of backlash from unhappy customers. The 45-second advertisement for McDonald's Netherlands was first posted on their YouTube channel on December 6th and was removed just a few days later on December 9th following the outcry online. In the video, AI-generated people are constantly experiencing strokes of bad luck, with chaotic family dinners, shopping woes, burnt cookies, failed Christmas tree decorating, and so on. McDonald's unveiled what has to be the most god-awful ad I've seen this year, one user wrote on X. The ad is set to a song to the tune of It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year, but the made-up lyrics are the song's antidote, calling the holiday season the most terrible time of the year.
It's the most terrible time of the year.
The commercial ends by telling viewers to hide out in McDonald's until January's here.
And hide out in McDonald's till January's here.
After the harsh criticism, McDonald's initially turned off comments on the YouTube video before removing it completely. McDonald's Netherlands told the BBC that the video was meant to reflect the stressful moments that can occur during the holidays, but it was an important learning moment as the company explored the effective use of AI. Though it's been removed from their official YouTube channel, the ad has been reposted many times on social media, where the reaction is still largely negative, criticizing the use of AI, as well as the negative message of the ad. If they were going for creepy, depressing, deeply unfunny, clumsily shot, poorly edited, and inauthentic, nailed it. Someone quipped on X, "It sucks. It's awful. There's no artistry, no wit, no charm, no warmth, no humanity. You can tell it's AI from a million miles away. I hate it," another post said. Meanwhile, the studio behind the ad, the Gardening Club, is defending its work, noting on LinkedIn that the AI-generated ad still took 7 intense weeks for humans to create.
Хочу, чтобы меня услышали и простые граждане западных государств. Вас сейчас настойчиво пытаются убедить в том, что все ваши трудности – это результат каких-то враждебных действий России, что из вашего собственного кошелька надо оплатить борьбу с мифической русской угрозой. Все это ложь. А правда в том, что текущие проблемы, с которыми сталкиваются миллионы людей на Западе, стали результатом многолетних действий правящих элит их государств. Их ошибок, близорукости и амбиций. Эти элиты думают не о том, как улучшить жизнь своих граждан в западных странах. Они одержимы своими корыстными интересами и сверхприбылями. И здесь опять лгут постоянно, извращают исторические факты, не прекращают нападки на нашу культуру, на русскую православную церковь, другие традиционные религиозные организации нашей страны. Посмотрите, что они делают со своими собственными народами. Разрушение семьи, культурной и национальной идентичности, извращение, издевательства над детьми вплоть до педофилии объявляются нормой их жизни.
On August 17th, about 4 months ago, I sent Prime Minister Albanese of Australia a letter in which I gave him warning that the Australian government's policy was promoting and encouraging anti-Semitism in Australia. I wrote, "Your call for a Palestinian state pours fuel on the anti-Semitic fire. It rewards Hamas terrorism. It emboldens those who menace Australian Jews and encourages the Jew hatred now stalking your streets. Anti-Semitism is a cancer. It spreads when leaders stay silent. It retreats when leaders act. I call upon you to replace weakness with action, appeasement with resolve. Instead, Prime Minister, you replaced weakness with weakness and appeasement with more appeasement. Your government did nothing to stop the spread of anti-Semitism in Australia. You did nothing to curb the cancer cells that were growing inside your country. You took no action. You let the disease spread. And the result is the horrific attacks on Jews we saw today. We saw an action of a brave man, turns out a Muslim brave man, and I salute him, that stopped one of these terrorists from killing innocent Jews. But it requires the action of your government, which you're not taking. And you have to, because history will not forgive hesitation and weakness. It will honor action and strength. That's what Israel expects of each of your governments in the West and elsewhere, because the disease spreads and it will consume you as well.
We begin here, though, with a family's call for answers after a man is discovered dead on a Brookfield golf course. A warning, though, the details in this story may be difficult to hear. Police say first responders found Tori Medley hanging from a tree at the Brookfield Hills golf course near I-94 and Moreland Road last week. 12 News' Kendall Keys joining us there live tonight. And Kendall, police believe Medley died by suicide.
Right, Blake. While their investigation remains open, right now Brookfield police say the evidence points to suicide. Meanwhile, Medley's family says they're without closure, and they're calling on police to conduct a thorough investigation. Last week, early Thursday morning,
callers thought they saw someone deceased. They're advising it's on the golf course.
A death investigation unfolding on the Brookfield Hills golf course. Police blocking off surrounding roads for hours.
When I called and they told me what happened, I just was in a state of disbelief.
Sheena Medley speaking with 12 News from Hawaii on Zoom. Her brother, Tori, the man found dead on the golf course. Brookfield police saying he was found with a strap around his neck, the other end attached to a tree branch.
Does he have any connection to that golf course that you know about?
No, not that we know of. He was living in Milwaukee.
Okay.
He was living down off of St. Paul. So he didn't have a vehicle. And so the question is, how did he get out there? When did he get out there? Why did he go out there?
Police saying that day they believed the death to be a suicide. More than a week later, with a completed autopsy, Brookfield police say that's still the case. Their investigation remaining open.
If it was suicide, we'll accept that. But if it was something else, we'll accept that too. We just need to know that all I's have been dotted, T's have been crossed, and it's been fully reviewed and investigated, which is only fair.
Sheena asking anyone with information or possible surveillance video to come forward.
And I just wanted people to know that he had a name.
Yeah.
He was a really good person, a good man, and he had a family that loved him incredibly.
When America's founding fathers sought to create their new nation, they turned to the reliability and practicality of the Roman Republic. The founders drew inspiration from Rome's symbolism in everyday life of government, philosophy, military strategies, religious tolerance. The Roman Republic may have fallen, but her influence lives on through the heartbeat of the United States of America. That some of the founding fathers literally referred to the USA as being the new Rome. The point is that Rome was more than an empire, it was an idea. 4 times John talks about this. He said, I saw a beast rising in chapter 13 out of the sea. That means coming out of humanity. That the beast is I believe, a person. Some people think it's a system, a government, but these things are melded together. But he seems to be an individual having 7 heads, 10 horns, and his horns 10 crowns. But most importantly, it says, and on his head are words, names of blasphemy. That his entire orientation of this new governmental agency is to overthrow the kingdom of God, to resist it and to take over. Now, all of this stuff would be little more than cryptic scribblings were it not for the book of Daniel and the visions that God gave to him. And it's kind of interesting because when you come to the end of the book of Revelation, John is told, don't seal the book because it's for the time of the end. In other words, it's supposed to be understandable. It's supposed to be read. It's supposed to be able to look at it and see this transpiring within the world. But at the end of Daniel's book, which predates it by 700 years, it said, seal these things and don't let people understand them, in other words, until you come to the end. And so we have kind of a cipher really given to us. Daniel is a kind of a cipher for Revelation. We can look at what God said in Daniel and we can understand more clearly what he's talking about in Revelation.
When you see this board will blow every board away. And I believe we're going to be lucky enough to have the Crown Prince be a very distinguished member of the board. But we're going to have the heads of the Board of Peace. And I think it will go long beyond Gaza and the Middle East. I can see that going long beyond there'll never be anything like this in terms of, I know you all have wonderful boards, but this is going to blow it away. It's going to blow them all away, and it's going to do some really good. So in the coming months, the Crown Prince and I are going to ensure that the ceasefire and everything else that's going on that's so positive in the Middle East, hard to believe. I mean, I've grown up, peace in the Middle East. I used to hear peace, peace, peace in the Middle East, but never happened. All the momentum now is toward a great, glorious, and lasting peace, and our commitment to fulfilling the 20-point plan we developed together will be the crucial foundation for achieving that bright future. And
the best way to gain control of the most intelligent, powerful species on the planet would be to completely divide them from the love within themselves. As soon as they are old enough to begin creating an understanding of who they are, force them into a system that teaches them that it is wrong to be yourself if yourself is different from what is accepted as normal. Confuse them about their own biological makeup so that they think that permanently altering their body is the answer to happiness. Require their daily attendance at an institution that makes them focus only on the information that is provided. Make them attend that institution from age 5 until an adult and repeatedly test them on the information so that it becomes their truth. Give them an explanation to everything so that they never have a chance to make their own assumptions of the world. Scold them and humiliate them if they suggest an opinion that opposes that of their authorities. Keep reminding them of how cruel their ancestors were to each other in the past and broadcast how cruel they are to each other in the present. Only show them tragedies on the news so that they live in fear and think the worst of one another. Convince them that their species used to be that of an incognizant wild animal. Make them think that their very existence is so incredibly random that they lack purpose and struggle to make sense of a creator. Tell them that their kind is as smart as they've ever been so that they don't question the integrity of the system that they're in. Provide them idols with artificial beauty and use them as examples of what it is to look perfect so that they are never content with their own appearance and can't help but to compare themselves amongst each other. Create addictive digital platforms that rank them by numbers so that they base their self-worth off of the amount of followers that they have and are never satisfied. Build a society around them in which those who have money benefit and those who don't fail. Make money their main focus, but make it so difficult to accumulate that they remain in a place of constant struggle, forced to dedicate the majority of their time to the system that made it this way. Tax them in every way possible, but tell them that it's for their own benefit so that they don't think twice about paying it. Take so much of their time and energy throughout the week, but give them 2 days to themselves so that they feel a sense of reward and don't fight back. Promote the consumption of poison in every social setting so that even on those 2 days, they remain disconnected from themselves and each other. Pump their food with excess sugars and addictive chemicals, but make it cheap, advertised, and easily accessible so that they never stop consuming. When their food makes them ill, prescribe them medication that only masks the symptoms so that they become dependent on it every day. Charge them so much money for healthcare so that they stay in a constant loop of consuming, medicating, and working. Cause chaos amongst them and blame it on a group of their own so that they form judgmental stereotypes. Turn them against each other in so many ways so that even if they were to connect on one, they would still be divided by another.
Turn them against each other in so many ways so that even if they were to connect on one, they would still be divided by another.
He wants the files released, but won't release them. He's focused on affordability by building a $300 million ballroom. He deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, but threatens war with Venezuela. He'll bring down prices on day one, but beef prices are at record highs. He's America first, but has a $40 billion bailout for Argentina. He's for the working class, but giving tax cuts to billionaires. He has a terrific healthcare plan, but won't tell us what it is. He's protecting federal buildings, but tore down the East Wing of the White House. He's cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, but added $2 trillion to the national debt this year. He wants men out of women's locker rooms, but walked into a teenage beauty pageant's dressing room. He's closing down the border, but opening it up for white South Africans. He's a Christian, but never goes to church. He's a businessman, but always goes bankrupt. He loves the military, but dodged the draft. He wants law and order, but he's a convicted criminal. He backs the blue, but not at the U.S. Capitol. He does all this, and you, my American friends, still support him. After 30,000 lies, 6 bankruptcies, 5 draft deferments, 4 indictments, 3 wives, 2 impeachments, and 1 insurrection. After COVID, tariffs, ICE raids, government shutdowns, bribes, corruption, pardons, selective prosecutions, illegal drug boat strikes, unconstitutional executive orders, and months of chaos. Because at this point, my dear Americans, submissive fellow journalists, spineless members of Congress, corrupt business leaders, cowardly university presidents, enabling law firms, out-of-touch rappers, and anyone else who normalizes this shit show, he's not the problem. You are.